Okay, so with another vintage race coming up soon in the next few weeks, I figured I'd make a video talking about what I plan to bring to that race. So just to recap, this race is the RC10Talk Fall Brawl. This is going to be at Insanity RC in New Jersey on, I think, October 27th. So the rules are a little bit different from the Vintage Off-Road Nationals, but not too different. So for instance, all the cars that would use 17.5 motors, like two-wheel drive buggy and stadium truck, these are non-boosted. Vonats allows for boost in the speed control settings. This race does not. Not a big deal. I just have to make sure my speed controls have that turned off and change the timing and gearing and all that. The other thing is, for the four-wheel drive race, that's a 13.5 motor only, no 10.5 motor. So in terms of me figuring out what I want to bring, obviously I have a lot of four-wheel drive buggies. In the case of this race, I figured I would just pick among the cars that already have a 13.5 motor in them, and then which among those I think I would like to get a little bit more time with. So getting that out of the way, the other thing I need to think about is the amount of practice time I'll have available. I've never been to this track. I have read up a little bit on what kinds of tires are good for that track. I've seen a few pictures, so I kind of have a sense of maybe what I need to run in terms of tires and setup, but it's really just a guess. And unlike with Vonats, where I basically have allowance to go off and do like a full day of open practice and be there for the whole weekend, for this race I can't do that. Although they will be having a full day of practice on Saturday right before the race, I won't be able to attend that open practice. I have other obligations. So I can only show up on Sunday for the race. There's going to be 2 hours of practice in the morning, and then they go straight to qualifiers. So that means, although I will have some practice time, it'll be very limited. So I have to really bring a lot fewer cars than what I would have otherwise brought to something like Vonats. So that means I have to bring cars that I'm fairly certain that I'm going to be okay with. If I need to make tuning adjustments or whatever, I'm not too worried about that. If I have to fix it, they should be relatively easy to service, these kinds of things. So, okay. That being said, what am I bringing? Well, there's 4 classes. There's two-wheel drive buggy, four-wheel drive buggy, stadium truck, and Y2K two-wheel drive buggy. So for two-wheel drive buggy, I'm bringing 2 cars, one front up, one back up. So I'm going to bring my Kyosho Pro X yet again. I know I've been bringing this to vintage races for the past few years, and I keep running into issues with the car. But I would like to think I have sorted at least most of those out since last time. So I ran into some issues at the Vintage Off-Road Nationals with my Pro X, some mechanical problems. So I once I brought it home, I cleaned it up and fixed it up, and I think it'll be okay. And I'm thinking maybe this is a car better suited for a more conventional dirt track anyway, so maybe this is the best venue for that car. And then for Vonats, I could focus more on other cars like my mid-motor Losi XX, and maybe the Kyosho Triumph, and some other car, bring the TRX3 back, of course. So I'd like to kind of like split up what cars I bring to Vonats and what cars I bring to this race. So let's try the Pro X as the front up. As the backup, I have my Tekin mid-motor RC10. It's been a few years since I ran this. I think the last time I raced it was in 2021 or 2019. I think it was 2021. So it's been a couple years, and I really liked it. The thing is, when I ran it at RC Excitement at the time, early in the weekend, it ran very nicely, and then as the grip level came up, it actually was a very non-ideal car to run, given the way I had it set up at the time. This track's not going to be super high grip, so I think this will be better suited. It has, I went back to a softer setup with it. Still has the Losi Hydro Drive in there. I'm still using the Active Link rear suspension, so I think this will be a very interesting car to run in the event that the Pro X doesn't work out for me that weekend, or I'm going to try them both and see which one works best. But this, I think, will be a really good backup option. So I'm going to bring those two for two-wheel drive buggy, and we'll see how they go. For four-wheel drive buggy, I have my Yokomo 92 Works. I ran this last year at the Vintage Off-Road Nationals at RC Excitement, and again, some of the issues I had were the nature of the track surface. Other issues were just the car itself. The steering was very wandery when I ran it last time, and I realized that's because I didn't have the servo mounted very securely, so I fixed that. The other issue I had with it was the jumping performance was a bit off. I think the ride height was too low, so I increased the ride height. We'll see how it does. I don't know if it'll be quite perfect. I also don't know if we're going to have enough four-wheel drive entrants at the race anyway. So if we do have enough people there for four-wheel drive, that's the car I'm going to use. And although I can bring other cars, like I was thinking my Kyosho Laser ZXRR would be a really good backup option, I don't want to bring so many backup cars because then I'm going to be, you know, torturing myself over whether I should run A or B. And because of the limited practice time that I have for this race specifically, because I can't attend open practice on Saturday, I want to stick to one car if I can. So I'm going to stick with this for better or worse and just try to make it work if I end up having issues with it. But I'm pretty sure it's going to be a good car because it's, you know, geometrically it's very similar to the 93 Works. Once upon a time, I ran my 93 Works during open practice sessions at RCHR when they had a dirt track, and it felt great. So, you know, I think this will be okay. So from that to, let's say, Stadium Truck, Losi XXT. I just made a video on this recently. My only worry with this truck is that I only have one set of tires front and rear. I do have another set of rims, but I have to, you know, put those in acetone and unglue the tires to mount new sets of tires on it. I'm not quite ready to do that yet for this truck because I only have two sets of rims, and maybe I'll like this so much that I want to bring it to Vonats. I don't know. So I'm thinking just run, you know, one pair of rear hole shots, one pair of front edges. I might burn through those hole shots before the A main or before the mains, whichever main I get to. So we'll see. So I'm thinking maybe as a backup, I'll bring my Pro XRT just in case, because I do have more tires for that truck since I did the RT6 quick mount conversion for that recently. So maybe I'll bring the Pro XRT as a backup for the XXT, but I will be running the XXT. And then for Y2K, I made a video on this recently as well. The Kyosho RB Type R. It's basically a Kyosho version of an RC10B3, but with arguably higher quality parts. So yeah, it's kind of a mishmash. Some Kyosho, some Associated, some Losi, some stuff. So that's kind of it. I may or may not be bringing my son with me. He'd have to get up really early that morning, so I don't know if he's going to want to do that, but if he is willing to, then I have my old RC10 team car that I used to race many years ago. I have that all cleaned up and ready to go, so I set that up for him if he wants to use it. And if he does come, that will even further limit my ability to practice and get, you know, ready for the track, which means I really need to compress what cars I bring even more because I got to help him, and this would be his first time racing on dirt. So I don't know if he'll go. If not, it's okay. You know, I'll pick another. We'll find another time to go for him specifically. But yeah, this is what I'll be bringing. I hope to see a decent amount of people there, so we have a nice racing program, especially for four-wheel drive buggy. I'd really like people to bring their four-wheel drive buggies if they can, because I love that class. So anyway, that's it for now. Thanks for watching.